Could have washed this tractor for us, couldn't he? Hey?
What?
Could have washed your tractor for us.
The wheels never stop turning.
Well, Trev, we finally got you on video. How many times do you reckon I've been out to film you now?
More times than I could count.
Yeah, so when I first decided I wanted to start making videos on YouTube, I came out to you, didn't I, Trev?
Yeah, you used
and I was about this high. And
yeah, every time you heard the tractor, you were out there. Yeah. Can I come with you?
I think once, Trev, you had to get on the roof of this tractor, didn't you, to rescue my drone out of a tree?
Oh yeah, when I was ploughing, you was filming with the drone, and some way or other the drone got out of control, landed in the top of the tree.
Yeah, it's when I was first learning, my first ever drone, I managed to land it on a branch of a tree, so that was...
we drove the tractor under the tree, and I climbed on top of the cab and just about managed to get to it to get it down for you, and it was still in one piece.
Yeah, just about. That was one of the occasions it was still in one piece, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. It needed a few propellers that day. I flew it into the forager, but we won't talk about that. Oh dear. So, Trev, let's talk about you. How old were you when you first came to work on this farm?
15.
15?
Yeah.
Do I dare ask how old you are now, Trev? Do you mind them knowing that?
No. I am 70 now.
So that's quite a few years, Trev.
Yeah.
So you know what you're talking about.
It's like this, you're learning every day.
Every day.
No matter who you are, you're learning every day.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah.
There's always something different.
So how did you come about getting a job here then, when you first started out?
I came when George, who started the farm, and Margaret, I came and helped on a weekend, and I came when George wasn't very well and he needed some help, and then when it come to leaving school, he offered me a job. We worked together for a long time.
So Andrew came along, George's son,
yeah,
and took over the farm.
Yeah.
And you've been working along with Andrew ever since?
Yeah.
What tractor did you have when you first started then, Trev, back then?
When I first started, it was a Massey Ferguson 35X.
And I suppose farming was a bit different back then?
Oh yeah, it's changed over the years. Everything's got bigger, more horsepower, the machines have got bigger.
Were you farming differently back then? You were milking when you...
Well, it was mainly dairy then.
Right.
With some arable. and a few potatoes.
How were potatoes harvested back then? Bit different to now.
They were picked by hand first couple of years, and then George went out and bought a Peter Standen potato harvester, and that was our first potato harvester. Then he traded that in for Grimmy Gazelle, and we had that. That was a real good harvester. We had that for a good many years.
And now you've got your Reiki.
Now we've got a Reiki, yeah.
How long have you been running this harvester then, Trev?
I think it's about eight years now.
It's done you well.
Yeah. Well, we still got. We had another Grimmy after we got rid of the Gazelle. And we had Grim Continental, which digs a bed, which is 2 rows, and we still got that one.
You still run that now alongside this one?
We still run that one. We use that one when the weather and the soil is really dry, because it's so gentle on the crop. We don't get too much damage on the potatoes with it, because it's so gentle. Whereas this is more of for wet weather, and it's okay when the soil's wet or moist, but when it gets wetter, that's what it's for, is to be able to try and keep going when the conditions are bad.
What makes that Grimmier a lot easier on the crop then?
Because it's not no dormant rollers in it. It's all star cleaning.
Right.
And when the soil's nice and dry, stars clean it out without banging and bumping the potatoes about. Whereas this Reiki is dormant rollers, which fetches a lot of the dirt and rubbish out when the conditions are bad.
I think it's safe to say conditions aren't great this year, Trev.
No, they're some of the worst we've had for a few years.
I think you're lucky to be moving, because most people aren't at the moment.
Yeah, well, as long as we can just keep moving forward, we're getting some of them out.
Yeah.
It's really slowed the job up now. It's not easy going.
I mean, obviously we're digging spuds today. What variety are we in?
We're just finishing off a variety called Challenger, which we haven't had too many of them this year because we couldn't get the seed. And then the next variety we'll be going into is Marfona, which we've grown for a good many years. Is a good reliable potato for yield, whatever the conditions are, growing conditions. They'll stand the dry, hot weather, and they really grow if they get the moisture. And also the Marfona, once people know what they are, keep asking for them, because they're a nice size, nice sample of potato, and they also don't boil in the water.
Right.
Anybody can cook them.
So you've always been a Massey Ferguson man, Trev, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah.
This tractor you've had now for, oh dear, 6 years?
Yeah, 17 plate Aprils.
Is that right?
Yeah.
How many hours have you done with it?
Coming up to 9,500.
But it does do pretty much everything, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does a lot of the work. The 6480 lives on the sprayer most of the year, doesn't it? So what other tractors do you run alongside this one?
Another 7718, which is a 65 plate, and that's got bigger wheels on, because we use that tractor for cultivations and drilling. We've got the bigger wheels on it, so it doesn't compact the soil so much when we're drilling, whereas I've got narrower wheels on, because I'm doing fertiliser spreading, potato harvesting, potato planting, so I don't want to keep changing from one set of wheels to another. So
you'd be doing it all the time, wouldn't you?
We've settled for happy medium tyre, wheel and tyre to do the job. So
and your back tyres have lasted you the whole 9,000 hours.
yeah.
Which is good going. So how many acres do you farm here then, Trev?
We're farming around just over 500 acres.
And that is arable, beef?
Yeah, as I said earlier, we used to milk a lot of cows. We had sheep as well.
The milking job's all changed a bit now, hasn't it?
The milking job was getting worse and worse and worse, so we decided to pull the plug on it and go into suckler cows and continue with the beef, which we've always done.
But you still do all the work yourselves? Well, the tractor work anyway. All of it's done yourselves.
We do all the tractor work. We don't have any outside helping.
So we should probably mention your forager, because I came out to see you when you were chopping.
Yeah.
The old Rico. What exactly is she, Trev?
NH30 Rico.
And how many years have you had her?
Well, we had it from brand new when we bought it. Well, when George bought it. She's somewhere in the region of 38 years old now.
Wow. And she has chopped the grass every year.
Yeah.
She's never let you down.
No. When we first had it, we were doing because we used to do we used to work together with George's brother, do the silaging on 2 farms, and we were doing like 350 acre a year. So she was doing a fair bit of work early in her life, but now she's only doing about 120 to 140 acre a year.
And you run the trailers behind the forager?
Yeah, we tow the trailers behind the forager.
That's just always the way you've done it?
Yeah, well, it saves on a driver as well. So
yeah. Safe to say you're very talented at getting the trailer on the back of the forager first time, Trev.
Oh,
even when the camera's pointing at you, you're good at that bit.
Yeah.
You've had plenty of years practice though.
Oh yeah, it doesn't always go like that, but 95.
Shouldn't mention that bit.
95% of the time it does.
And the trailers are you've got the silage sides for these trailers, haven't you? You just run the same trailers.
Yeah, we just run the same trailers. We've got silage sides on 3 trailers, which we use for the silage, and then as soon as the silage is finished in June, we strip them down, and then they're ready for corn harvest.
So that forager's been run on a few tractors in the past?
Oh yeah, she started life on a 699 Massey, and then she was on a 6170, and then she was on a 6280, then she was on the 6480, and then she's on this 7718.
I bet she wonders what was happening the first time she got hooked up to this one.
Yeah.
So before this tractor you had a 6480?
Yeah.
How many hours did you put on that one?
Nearly 11,000 hours.
But they never give you many problems?
Very little problems, just odd sensor or something like that, but nothing major, no.
Yeah, I remember when you had this new and you wouldn't even sit in it, Trev, because you still had your 6480.
Yeah, they didn't. They brought this one out, and for about 10 days I kept using the 6480. So
they had to confiscate his 6480.
They got a bit fed up with that, so they took it off.
Oh dear.
So I had to get this one out of the shed then, and it's never stopped since.
So let's talk about your combine, because that's the only green thing I think you've got, isn't it? Apart from a spud harvester.
Yeah, Lexin 630.
She's done you well. You've had that as long as I can remember anyway.
Yeah, she's very, very reliable combine. Never let us down.
All your own baling, everything.
Yeah.
What balers do you run?
We run class round baler. We run 200 class big square baler, and then we've got a conventional class square baler, little square baler, which we go out baling hay and stuff like that for the horsey people.
So you've recently had a new loader as well?
Yeah.
Replaced the Merlot?
We've replaced the Merlot with a Massey Ferguson loader forklift.
What do you think of it?
Well, it's coming up to 12 months old, and apart from a few little sensors, we've had very, very little trouble with it.
Andrew was liking it on the pit anyway.
Oh yeah, he got on really well with it on the pit. It had got plenty of power. I'm not knocking the Merlot because the Merlot was such a handy machine.
Yeah.
The Massey one is a bit bigger. You've got to be a bit more careful when you're going in and out of some of our buildings. But apart from that, up till now, it's been a real good machine. It's got the same cone attachments on as what we had on the Merlot, because we had a Macro before that, which was the cone fitting. So with all the attachments we got, we had a plate on the front with the cones on. So that was on the Merlot and on this Massey now.
How many spuds have you had this year, Trev?
Well, we're down to what we usually grow. We usually grow around 45, 50 acres. We cut them back to around 20 acres this year.
Well, if I remember right, the planting season wasn't very friendly on.
No,
it was a bit like this, wasn't it?
Yeah. It was a little wet.
What planter do you run?
Use a Grimmy belt planter, cup planter, sorry. We've had that for a few years now. That's a really good machine, accurate.
What about the destoner?
Destoner is Speedstar Reiki. We've had that for a few years. It's a good machine, quite reliable. We've never had much problems with it. They call it it's got a combination of webs and stars in it.
Yeah. The joys of it being wet, Trev.
Sorry?
The joys of it being wet.
Yeah, it sticks to everything. And if you don't clean it off, then you get the web slipping and jamming up and all that. So it's easier to just pop on and clean it off underneath the carriers, so as you don't have to stop and struggle to get it off when it builds up.
So what combine did you learn to drive on then, Trev?
Alice Chalmers.
Alice Chalmers?
Yeah, 12-foot cut.
Was that pre-cab, was it?
Yeah, no cab,
dear.
Just out in the dust.
I bet you're glad you're a cab these days.
Oh yeah, the cab was a godsend really. Protects you from all the dust and rubbish that's flying about.
How many acres were you doing back then when you had the Alice?
We were probably combining 200 acre then.
It was enough to keep that moving, wasn't it?
It wasn't a fast combine, but it made a fantastic sample. The sample it produced was unbelievable.
And in what stage was a class brought?
The first class was purchased when we traded that in, was Senator 70 with a 12-foot cut on. We had the Senator 70 for about 15 years, 16 years, and then we changed it for a class 96 with a cab on, and that was the 96 model was the first cab we had combined with a cab on.
You do all your own edge cutting as well, Trev?
Yeah, do all our own edge cutting.
That's a job you enjoy doing?
Yeah, that's a job I like doing.
The edge cutter's been good to you?
Yeah.
It has, hasn't it?
Yeah. It's been a real good edge cutter, McConnell.
Yeah, I experienced my first ever smashed window with that edge cutter.
Yeah, well.
We were sat in here the one day and something came flying through that window, but we didn't know what.
No, it exploded, didn't it?
Yeah. When you've never heard that bang before, it's quite a it's quite
that's
a thing.
right.
You had your guard on as well.
Yeah, guard on, but it come through the guard. She has done a lot of work, that hedge cutter has.
I was going to say, you do.
Because we do other people's as well.
Yeah,
so,
well, it does the farm every year. That's enough to keep it busy, isn't it? And maintenance work, is that also your forte, or?
Yeah, I do some of the maintenance. Andrew does some of the maintenance. Or you know, sometimes we work together doing the maintenance. It just depends what the job is. But we try to keep it in-house. But the way things are today, it's getting a bit too complicated to do it. So you know, we have to call in the local merchant to come and sort some of it out.
So a few more days, Trev, and you should have these off, hopefully.
Yeah, it just depends on the weather, doesn't it? It's not drying now, and it's just getting wetter and wetter, and it takes longer and longer. So
yeah, let's hope next season's a bit more, a bit friendlier to you.
yeah, it's just
they come and go though, don't they?
Yeah.
We had a good year last year, and you forget how bad a bad one is. But
yeah.
That's it. Well, we'll let you go, Trev, because we're losing the light, and we'll let you get your back window rack open. Okay. Because we know you like your back window rack.
Thank you very much, Tom.
No, it's all right. Cheers for having a chat with us, and all the best, Trev. We'll see you soon.
Yeah, okay. Thank you. Anytime.